There are places that are called remote because they are inconvenient to reach, and then there are places that exist outside the logic of how the modern world works entirely. In the middle of the South Atlantic Ocean, thousands of miles from anywhere, a volcanic island rises from the water. It has no airport. The nearest human beings are over 1,500 miles away. The only way in or out is a 6-day voyage by ship, if the weather cooperates. And on this island, right now, 250 people are going about their day, working, cooking, looking after each other, and choosing, every single day, to stay. This is Tristan da Cunha, the most isolated inhabited place on Earth. Tristan da Cunha is the tip of a massive shield volcano rising from the abyssal depths of the Atlantic Ocean. Its classic cone is crowned by Queen Mary's Peak, a snow-capped summit that towers 2,062 meters above sea level. Sheer cliffs ring the island's perimeter, some plunging 600 meters directly into the ocean. Around 250 people holding British Overseas Territories citizenship live on the archipelago's only inhabited island, in a community known as Edinburgh of the Seven Seas. It is 2,700 kilometers from South Africa, 3,700 kilometers from South America. It holds the Guinness World Record as the most isolated inhabited place on Earth. And it has one shop, one pub, one school, one hospital, and no traffic lights. Britain feared Napoleon, then exiled on St. Helena, might be rescued by the French using Tristan as a base. To block this, they annexed the island and stationed a garrison. When the garrison was withdrawn a year later, a Scottish corporal named William Glass stayed behind with his family. Glass and his companions drew up a founding document declaring that the stock and stores of every description should be shared equally, and that no member shall assume any superiority whatever, but all to be considered as equal in every respect. That was 1817. That founding principle of total equality still shapes how the island works today. The surnames of the island's population, Glass, Green, Swain, Rogers, Lavarello, Repetto, and Hagen, still dominate today. Everyone on the island is related to one of 7 founding families. The island has no airport, and access is limited to a 6-day voyage from Cape Town by supply ship, the only regular connection to the outside world. Residents rely on this ship for food, fuel, and medical supplies. Lobster fishing is the economic backbone. Potatoes are grown in communal fields, known simply as the patches. With so few residents, there are simply too few people for all the jobs that need doing. When someone is off-island or unwell, others have to fill in, whether that means covering shifts, running errands, or slaughtering a cow. The Albatross Bar, tucked inside the island's community hall, is often dubbed the most remote pub on Earth. It's the only watering hole around, so forget about bar hopping. And the island runs what is considered the world's most remote bus service, shuttling pensioners to and from the potato patches. In 1961, the island's volcano erupted. The entire population was evacuated to the United Kingdom. For many islanders, it was their first experience of cities, crowds, supermarkets, and strangers. What surprised outsiders most was how deeply uncomfortable this felt to many of them. 2 years later, when the island was declared safe, the majority chose to return. Not because life on Tristan da Cunha was easier, but because it was coherent. The pace made sense. The relationships made sense. The isolation was not a defect. It was the framework that held everything together. They had seen the modern world. They had lived in it. And they walked away from it. Back to the volcano. Back to the ship that comes 6 times a year. Back to the island where everyone knows your name, because there are only 250 of you. In May 2026, the world was reminded of just how isolated Tristan da Cunha really is. A medical emergency required specialist care that could not wait for a ship. A UK military team parachuted onto the island, comprising 6 paratroopers, 1 specialist doctor, and 1 intensive care nurse. An RAF aircraft flew the team nearly 7,000 kilometres to Ascension Island before flying another 3,000 kilometres south, sustained by mid-air refuelling. HMS Medway was then dispatched from the Falkland Islands, sailing 7 days through notoriously rough waters to reach the island. 1 medical emergency, 2 countries mobilised, 14 days of operations, because there is simply no other way in. So why do they stay? Tristan da Cunha has a 99% literacy rate and one of the highest life expectancies in the world. There is no crime, and disputes are resolved through communal discussion. Life on Tristan may look quiet from the outside, idyllic even, but on the inside it moves fast. Everyone does everything, all at once. There are no strangers here, no anonymity, no loneliness in the way the modern world produces it. What they have is something most of us spend our entire lives searching for. A community where you genuinely matter, where your absence is noticed, where your presence is needed. The isolation that looks like a limitation from the outside is the very thing that makes it work. Tristan da Cunha faces real challenges. Climate change is affecting the lobster stocks that fund the island. Young people occasionally leave for education and don't always return. The population has hovered around 250 for generations, but it only takes a small number of departures to tip the balance. And yet, the island endures. It has survived a volcano, a world war, a global pandemic, and 200 years of being the most isolated community on Earth. Life on Tristan da Cunha may look quiet from the outside, but on the inside, it moves fast. Everyone does everything, all at once, and somehow, they manage. If stories like this make you see the world differently, you're in exactly the right place. We find the most fascinating places, people, and facts on Earth every single week. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications, and we'll see you in the next one.